I'm Matt Reese. I'm the editor for Ohio's Country Journal, and we're working with the Ohio Soybean Council to highlight the important relationship between soybeans and Ohio agriculture, livestock on the livestock side, including poultry, dairy, beef, hogs, and so forth. And today I am fortunate to be able to talk with Keenan McRoberts. He's the Vice President of Strategic Alignment with the United Soybean Board. And welcome, Keenan.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today.
So today the topic we want to talk about is high-oleic soybeans and high-oleic soybean meal. Well, first of all, let's go back and I guess establish a baseline. What is a high-oleic soybean?
Yeah, so high-oleic soybeans are pretty cool. It's a biotechnological innovation that resulted in a higher portion of oleic acid relative to linoleic acid. So most soybeans are high in linoleic acid, bringing that oleic acid to really better serve frying applications on the food side. But we've had this opportunity on the dairy side that's also emerged once that product was created.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I think of high-oleic as having application on the human food side and the cooking and so forth.
That's right.
Why is it good for dairy? Are there health benefits for the cows in using this kind of soybean meal in the ration?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, it's not so much health benefits as it's an opportunity to increase profits, to get a little bit more fat in the dairy ration and to increase butterfat yield. So the great thing with that, you can get more fat of the ration without depressing milk fat by feeding some whole high-oleic soybeans. And under all butterfat prices between 2014 and 2020, that resulted in increased profitability for your high-producing dairy cows. So that's a real great opportunity on the dairy side to get more fat in that ration without creating some issues.
And are you seeing dairies around the country do this? Well, again, I'm not so familiar with too many in Ohio doing this. Is this something more dairies are looking at, though?
Yeah, it's on the front end right now. We've got some pretty strong evidence, multiple studies, mostly at the university level, that have indicated strong performance benefits based on milk fat yield and increased profit potential if you can get those roasted high-oleic soybeans, especially into those rations. So it's still in the early end of adoption, but we're seeing an increase in acres going toward dairy, especially in the upper Midwest and the Northeast. We're anticipating approximately, let's see, I believe we're looking at 300,000 acres anticipated for the 2024 planting season. So it's significant. It's getting close to a third of the overall high-oleic soybean acreage footprint today.
As dairy farmers are looking at these rations, of course, cost is a factor that has to be considered there. How does the cost of high-oleic soybean meal work into that? You mentioned it's a value in terms of the fat content, but how does it work on the cost side of things?
Yeah, the cost side. So what I don't anticipate is a lot of folks feeding the oil directly, but more bringing it in through the whole soybeans. So that enables a couple things for you. You can do more of a direct farm to market type application. They can be grown on the same dairy where you're feeding the soybeans, where you're roasting on site, not having to go through the typical processing entity. And, you know, it's kind of a hyper local value chain with that farm to market opportunity. And then even though there could be some increased cost, it's an opportunity cost relative to what the other end use for those beans might be, which would be to have it go to a processor and have that oil extracted for food use, like we talked about before. So the economic analysis that we've run based on 5 studies that were completed over the past 5 years or so has indicated, again, that under all the economic conditions between 2014 and 2020, which is a period of considerable variation in milk fat price, that you would have increased profit if you were to feed those cows 5% roasted whole high-oleic soybeans in that ration relative to what you would have been otherwise. And it's significant. So on a 2,000 cow dairy, that could be a difference of 130 grand a year in profit, given typical butterfat prices over that period.
How do you see those supply chains working out on a hyper-local basis around the country?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's a kind of a further research question. What would that need to look like? What is the opportunity cost with those acres to put the production toward a dairy? But you could see them being produced on the same dairy or contracted with local farmers in the area. And, you know, I think we're still trying to figure that out. A big question is the roasting. There's an advantage from a digestibility standpoint of roasting the beans versus feeding them raw. And but if you got that infrastructure available and you can pull it off, there are profit advantages to getting those beans into dairy rations.
Excellent information. That's very interesting ration for thought, I'd say today, Keenan. I've been talking with Keenan McRoberts. He's with the United Soybean Board, and I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you as well. Appreciate it.